Hello, everybody. I hope you have had a wonderful week. Happy Friday. It's the weekend. I am Kat. I am the nurse flipper. And if you're not familiar, I've been a full-time reseller since 2022. And we had so many sales last week. I made a video, put it out on Monday for you. There were so many good ones. I had to make a second video. So I'm going to show you 20 more items that sold last week. These are both bread and butter, as well as a couple of high dollar ones in here. And I really want you to know what's selling right now so that you know what to list to increase your own sales right now. All right, we are going to start off with my backdoor like I like to do on all my sales videos. And I'm recording this the same day as I recorded Mondays, but our sales have went up. So we're at 153 for the day, 3,100 for the month, or 3,100 for the week, 14,700 for the month, 36,800 for 90 days. And there were just so many good sales. I wanted to show you some more of what sold. So we're going to take a look at 20 items from eBay that sold last week. First up is a really cool set of 4 Henry's serrated curved fillet knives. These are dark butterscotch bakelite, and these were listed back in September, and they did sell for full price of $24.99. I picked them up for just a few dollars at the thrift store, so they're about a $17 to $18 profit, and 2 months to sell. I am very happy with. Next up is a really neat piece. This is a vintage statement lapis lazuli sterling silver sun starburst southwest pendant. So this one took a year to sell, and if you look, this is out of focus. So I put out a video Wednesday, if you missed it, on things you should do to get more sales, and one of them was make sure your pictures were in focus, and this one simply is not. So this one took a year to sell. I did accept a best offer of $45, but it's blurry. So make sure, especially with jewelry, like here it's a little more in focus, but in this first picture it's very blurry. So with those smaller things, make sure you're focused. Very important. So I'm glad this one sold. I picked it up for $5 in an online jewelry lot. It's still a $35 profit, but it took way too long to sell, and most likely that is because of the quality of my photos. Next up on the flip side is a bracelet that sold very fast. This one sold in under a week. If you do not know, Brighton jewelry sells very well as Brighton belts, Brighton purses. I have had excellent luck with them. This is a Brighton Apollo Wish and You May Receive hammered gold plate bangle bracelet. This one did sell for full price in under a week, and I am only a few dollars into it. And here you can see that B in the heart for Brighton. And inside it says the wish and you may receive. So make sure you watch out for Brighton. Again, it's that B inside of the heart. And make sure you comp and price right. This one was a very fast sale. Up next is one that has been listed over a year, and you can see I do have it on a 40% off sale. It did sell for that full price of the sale price of $41.99. This is a vintage hand-stitched baby quilt comforter. I did put handmade blue gingham for a boy or a girl. I think this would be appropriate for either. And this one I only paid $5 for, so it's about a $30 profit. With vintage linens, it is so hit or miss. So please know that if you pick them up, some of them can take a very long time to sell, but I love them so much. I love rescuing them. These are all little embroidered squares. Super cute handmade quilt. And again, took a long time. This one took a year, but for me, rescuing these really amazing vintage linens, it is worth it. Next up is a really cool piece that I got at a thrift store. I paid $5 for this. It sold for a full price of $40. It was listed back in August, so it took 2.5 months to sell. And it's a really cool Chianti Italian wine decanter. I actually picked up 2 of these, and this is the first one to sell. You can see the vintage 1970 there. And I thought it was pretty cool. It does have the U.S. Army Open Me sticker. I thought that was super, super neat. And this is just a really, really cool decor piece. And this one is close to a $30 profit. Next up was a very, very fast sale. This one sold in under a week. This is a vintage angel tree topper, lights, porcelain head, original box, House of Lloyd. I did put reed because it does not light up. So I did discount it. If it had worked, it would be worth quite a bit more. I am happy with the $20. I only paid $2. So it's about a $14 profit, but it sold very fast. So again, I did put that it did not light up. So make sure you put read or see in your titles if they do have defects. Next up is one that took a little bit longer to sell. This one was listed back in February, so about 8 months to sell. This is a Gilligan O'Malley's red velvet velour bishop sleeves nightgown or robe. Sold for a full price of $35, and I only paid $1. So this one's about a $28 profit. So yes, it took 9 months to sell. The vintage house coats and robes are kind of like the vintage linens for me. I love saving them. There's that Gilligan O'Malley tag. It was a medium, which definitely could have contributed to it taking a little bit longer to sell. But this was a really, really neat house coat and really, really good profit on $1 buy. Next up is a 1933 Wedgwood Cornell University plate. This one sold for a best offer of $45. And this one was listed back in March. And it is just a Cornell University Wedgwood kind of memorial type plate. It is of Willard Straight Hall in 1933. You can see here the Wedgwood, Etruria, England. And great sale. Watch for Wedgwood. There are a few patterns of Wedgwood that are very, very valuable. So definitely, if you find Wedgwood and it's not your typical matte blue or pink, I would look it up. Next up is another thing that is near and dear to my heart, and that is studio pottery, another of my loves. And I think it's really important when we resell that we enjoy what we're doing. So I absolutely love studio pottery. This one I put honey jelly jam condiment jar with lid and notch. This one was listed back in July, so about 3 months to sell, which I am super happy with. I accepted a best offer of $25. I only paid $2, so this one's close to a $20 profit in 3 months, and I'm very, very happy with that because studio pottery is another thing that can take a little bit longer to sell. Next up is one that might surprise you, and that is white scalloped edge napkins. These were listed back in April, so they took 6 months to sell, but they're plain. It is a set of 5. They do have embroidered corners. They did sell for full price of $16. I picked them up at the thrift store for $2, making them about a $12 profit. But these are really, really pretty. These look like they're actually probably linen would be my guess. If I'm not sure of the fabric, I do not put anything. And if somebody asks, I'll tell them they're vintage. They don't have a fabric tag, so I can't be sure, but I can tell them what I believe that they are. Up next was a really fast sale, and this is something I don't sell a lot of, meaning electronics. Now, this is one that I got from a family member. They were cleaning out their garage. It is an MCS modular component system, stereo receiver. It is vintage. And this one sold in under a month for $65, and I don't have anything into it. So it's about a $50 profit after fees. You can see here we show the photos so that they can see the condition. And this one was not in the best of condition. It wasn't horrible, but it again wasn't in the best of condition, but it sold in under a month for $65. So I'm really on the fence with electronics because that is one of the higher categories for returns, but you can also make a lot of money. Next up is a Robert Rakes bear. If you do not know about Robert Rakes, I definitely would remember this look. This one was listed back in April, and this one sold for $25. I did pay up for this one. I paid $7 for it at the thrift store, so it's only about a $12 to $14 profit. But I got two other bears that sold for close to $100 at the same time. So watch for Robert Rakes. The key for me to you is I would try and find them under 500. So this one was actually 1,500. If you see, I think I glanced and thought it was 500, and it was signed by the artist. So that was another reason I picked it up. But if you see Robert Rakes bears, I would definitely try and keep it to 500 or less, because if you get higher than that, the supply is going to be high and the demand will be low, and they will take a very, very long time to sell. Up next was a fast sale, and this is a Baccarat box, and this one was just listed back in September. Took 2 months to sell. It sold for a best offer of $31.49, and Baccarat is one I think a lot of you might not think might sell, but they do. We have done very, very well with empty Baccarat boxes. I have gotten them in our designer box lots, and here you can see I did put it was for the Lucky Metallic Scarab, and I put it was a replacement box. Now somebody might be using it for something else. However, if somebody has that item and it's a pretty valuable item, they will be willing to pay that $30 for the box. So this box I got from Rod, my co-host on my Tuesday night podcast. I paid him $5, making this about a $20 profit in a 2-month sale. Next up are some shoes, and I believe Shannon found these. I am not great with shoes. So this is a pair of Stuart Weitzman black suede fur-lined heels, size 8, women's. They sold for $45. They were listed in March, so they took 8 months to sell, so a little bit longer. But these I have about $5 in. You can see that Stuart Weitzman tag there, and they are made in Spain. So these are something I probably would pick up again. They did take 8 months to sell, but they are over a $35 profit. Up next is an empty Fendi box. I wanted to put this up there because I show you tons of Louis Vuitton and Chanel and Hermes, and Fendi we don't get as many of, but when we get them, they sell fast. So make sure you're looking out for them as well. This is a small box. It's 5 by 4 by 2. It's a wallet or bracelet box. And this one is another one from Rod. So it was listed back in September. I did accept a best offer of $27, making it about an $18 profit. So watch for Fendi boxes as well. Even these small ones sell pretty well, and 2 months to sell is not too bad. Up next is a pair of Nikes, and I actually just bought these last week off of eBay. These are new Nike Book 1 Sunrise Pink Foam basketball shoes, and I bought these for a friend of mine's son, and then with the authenticity process, they weren't going to get there in time, so they ended up just going to the store and buying them. I bought these off eBay for $108. Sold them in less than a week for $129. So basically after fees, I'm breaking even. But I wanted to point out, if you buy something or get a gift and it's not returnable, don't hesitate to throw it up on eBay, which is exactly what I did. And these were brand new. There were no defects. They had been authenticated by eBay. We never touched them, and we basically just listed and reshipped them back out. Up next is a really, really good sale on a tiny little box. This is a Tiffany & Co. Holiday Christmas vintage rib-lidded trinket box, sold for full price at $195. This one was listed back in May. I would venture to say it's probably going to be a Christmas gift if I had to guess. So it took 6 months to sell. I did pay about $50, but this one is still over right out of that $110 price point for our profit. And again, tiny little box. You can see the Tiffany Holidays, Tiffany & Co. Japan, 2 inches, guys, 2 inches by 2 inches, and almost a $200 sale. Next up is a simple, clear, retired Swarovski crystal starfish, another small item, 2.5 inches, clear crystal. Bought this in an online auction lot, paid about $5 for it. It sold for a best offer of $22.74, making it about a $13 profit. So not a lot, but I bought that Swarovski lot because it had some higher dollar pieces. Here you can see the swan, very clearly etched. This one did not have a box or anything and still was an okay profit for that lot. And again, I've told you guys, I buy these lots and they will have maybe 2 or 3 high dollar items, and then the rest are bread and butter like this, but we want to make as much money as we can off of the lots. Up next is one that took a while to sell. It took over a year. You can tell it's over a year by my 40% off sale. This is a Steve Warner hat. I got this in a lot. I only paid $1. It sold for $20.99, so that 40% off discount, making it about a $15 profit. But again, over a year to sell. This is another case of we might have gotten some amazing hats that sold fast in a lot, and then we are going to have some that will also sell slower. All right, we are down to our last 5 items, and none of these have went in any particular like monetary value order. These are 3 Walt Disney World volunteer buttons featuring Miss Piggy and Kermit. I did lot them up to get a higher price. They sold for a best offer of $13.99 though. So these were listed back in July. So I sent out that 30% off offer. I lotted the 3 of them up because I didn't want to sell $5 buttons. So I ended up selling the 3 for $14. I'm less than $1 in each. They are about an $8 profit, but they took 4 months to sell. Up next is a bit of a little bit longer tail. This one was listed back in February, so it took 9 months to sell. And this is a vintage retro. I did put Grandpa 1980s Y2K men's sweater by Method, which is not an overly popular brand. Picked this up for a couple of dollars in a lot. This was an online lot. This was one of the less desirable sweaters. So this one's about a $14 profit. It really wasn't anything special, but it did sell for that $20. And I'm happy to make a $15 profit, even though it did take a little while to sell. Up next is a really, really beautiful piece. And if I had somewhere to hang this, I probably would have kept this myself. So this one is a Neil Adamson Marsh Buntings picture, matted and framed, 9x11. It was from 1994. It sold for a best offer of $19 because it was listed back in April. I sent that 30% off, but really, really cool how they have the cattails cut out of the mat. And you can see on the back, it did have his name as well as what it was of. And I picked this up in an online auction lot. I'm only a couple of dollars in. So it's about a $14 profit, but it did take 8 months to sell. Up next is another Mark Roberts fairy elf, and I showed you one in the Monday video, and that one only sold for $40, but this one sold for $54. So again, there were some higher price ones as well as some lower. So with that $54, I paid $20, making this one over a $25 profit. And this one did take about 8 months to sell, close to 8 months, so a little longer. But I bought 20 of them, and the higher dollar ones were the least common ones, and those sold very, very fast for me. But these that were a little more common did take a little bit longer to sell. So again, $54 sale and about 8 months. Last for this video is a super cool vintage large Native American sand painting. I didn't even put sand painting. What in the heck? That's a case of me missing a keyword there. This is signed S. Ashley from 1992. This one did take longer to sell. This one was listed in January, so it took about 10 months, but I didn't pay much. I got this from an online auction lot. You can see it says Coyote S. Ashley 1992. Really, really neat one. It does have some wear there. That might be why it took so long, but this one's over a $30 profit. And again, took a little bit longer, but I absolutely love my Southwest items. All right, that was everything. I hope you enjoyed. Again, we had enough of what sold for me to do two this week, and I didn't want to skip over all those really good items. Let me know what your favorite was, or if there's something that caught you by surprise. Leave me a comment, hit the thumbs up, share with your friends if you think they'll like. Make sure you're subscribed to me. Definitely check that, because YouTube randomly will unsubscribe people. I really do appreciate you watching. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. I will see you on the next one.